Welcome to the Hararian Network, where we're connecting people through networking. And I want to continue off from the last video that I put out, which had to deal with basic configurations, right, in our environment. And we had to test and set things up, and we've seen that things were working well from there, right? And we're able to now console into the switch, right? And we can even see that right now too. If we go into the terminal, right? Make sure these settings are the way they are, right? The default settings should be fine. And it's asking for the password, what we set, right? And now we have to do a password for the enable secret, right? And we were able to get into the switch this way based on what we set up. And we do see the banner message as well here too, right? So we've seen a lot of the things that we're able to set up and basically configure, right? And we can see here these messages mentioning that the interfaces are up, right? They're bringing up the interfaces and everything like that. So now from here, what we want to do is, because at this point now, we don't want to use a console cable to connect to a switch all the time, right? We want to make it easier for us to access a switch if we ever have to look into what's going on, right? And in that case, we're going to need some way to remotely connect. And like I said in the last video, there are two protocols for that. We're going to go over one of them for today, which is Telnet, and the other one is SSH. And what's the difference is that with Telnet is not secure, right? And that's not good, because if someone just brings their computer and they're able to analyze the network, they have a program like Wireshark, they're able to see the data and the information if someone's using Telnet to connect on the network, right? And can get the password of how they access the device, all that stuff. Then from there, your device is compromised, and we definitely don't want that, right? And this is why we would not want to have Telnet, but I'll show you how to set up Telnet. And then in the next video, I will break down how to implement SSH, because with configuring SSH, there are a lot of steps involved for that. Okay, so let's just get to it. So as we see here, let's check our running configuration. For short, I did sh run, right? Show run. And we remember we did the service password encryption, the host name, enable secret, no IP domain lookup, and we don't have any interfaces obviously set up yet, right? And that's going to be later on as well too. And we can see there is the console line as well too. And basically we want to find a way to remotely connect. And if any other networking professionals in this company wants to access the switch and see what's going on, we don't want to have to bring a console cable and be directly there every time, right? So now where we're going to configure this is right here, the line VTY, 0 to 4, and there's 5 to 15. So which means that you can have up to 16 hosts remotely connecting to the switch at the same time, the most. So let's get to it. We're going to go into the global configuration, right? And we're going to go into line VTY 0, let's go up to 15, right? And there's already login enabled on it. We're going to implement logging synchronous, and remember what that's for. So if there's any messages that do come up while we're trying, let's say, type commands, it doesn't interrupt us, right? It will come afterwards. You know, it's not going to break in the middle of our typing. So if things are in sync, the logging information, basically. Now, we can do that. We can give it an EXEC timeout of 3 minutes, which means that if it's inactive for 3 minutes, when you remotely connect, it's going to take you out, time you out, right? You're out of it. You're not going to be able to get into the device. And you have to give a password and everything like that again, right? Now, what other options we can see we can have right here is that there is also, we got to set up a password, right? and then password. We can do the same password for this one. Always make sure your password's strong enough, right? Now, we can exit, and then you can exit this as well too. And now we save the configuration. Let's check how it looks right now based on this. So the changes that we made right here, right? And there's something else we have to do. By the way, that's not all. Because in order for you to remotely connect to a device, the device has to have an IP address to identify it. Because if it doesn't have it, then you're not going to be able to access it. But with switches, by the way, they deal with MAC addresses. They do not deal with IP addresses. They're a layer 2 device. So where you implement an IP address would not be on the actual interfaces, but it would be in the switch virtual interface right here, this interface VLAN 1. You see how it says no IP address and it's shut down? We're going to change that. So let's get back into this interface VLAN 1, and let's make sure it's in the same network, right, as this. So we're going to do IP address 192.168.2. We'll do .253 and give it a /24 subnet mask, which is 255.255.255.0. And it's shut down, so we have to bring it up by doing no shutdown. And now it's up. And then we're going to save this, okay? Now after going through this, we can check the configurations again, right? Or even if you don't want to see the whole thing, you can say this: show run and you can say include interface VLAN 1. Oh, my mistake. And, whoa, this is not coming up. Okay. Let's see. Let's make sure. Interface VLAN 1. Or if it's just like this, let's see, this will do it. Let's try this out. Let's see. Sometimes it's good to try to, there we go. So we do section. So this is a way that we can add a pipeline and to find a specific part of the running configuration. We see that it is, so include will only just show the actual interface VLAN 1. It's not going to show the details. If I did section, it's going to show me the whole section related with it, and as we can see, it shows the IP address. It doesn't show no shut because it's brought up, so that means that's good. So we're able to see that information. Now, if that is the case, we should be able to remotely connect to this device, right? And let's make sure about that now. So let's say that we remove the cable. Let's first actually make sure that this is saved, right? We can say exit. Okay, we can exit this. And then let's say that we end up deleting our connection. Let's bring that here. Let's connect this. To this port. And with switches, we know that it automatically works the ports the ports are down, you have to bring them up, but for the most part, we have to make sure about that. So you see now the interface, it came up. We can see that here, so it's good. It's just going to take time. And the reason why it takes time, if you remember from what I mentioned earlier, if I did mention in the previous video, it has to do with spanning tree protocol to prevent switching loops. And we're going to do something about that later on as well too in this journey. But now let's get back to this laptop here and let's make sure our configuration, you see we're part of the network, we have a .100 as the host. And now let's go to the command prompt, and we're going to do telnet 192.168.2.253. Now it's asking for a password, and also brought up the banner message of the day, right? And there we go. We're able to access it, right? And now it's asking for the secret, right? Enable secret. And now we're in the exec privilege mode. And we can see that. We have our options right here, right? And there you have it. And this is how we're able to remotely connect to the switch, right? But now, the thing is that this is not clear, and that's a problem. With Telnet, anybody can get this information if they could have some sort of network analyzer, right? And be a part of the network and see what's going on, and that's not good. And that's why we're going to implement SSH on the next video. But this is all I wanted to tell you for today. I hope you liked it. I hope you got something out of it, and you see how you're able to set up a network device to remotely connect to it. It's as simple as this. SSH, on the other hand, by the way, there's a lot more going on with that, and that's why we're going to have another video based on that. And basically from here, what I'm going to say is, if you like it, thumbs up. If you're interested, you want to see more of this kind of content, subscribe to my channel, all that good stuff. Comment. If you have anybody else that's intrigued about it, you can let them know about it. And that's all I want to tell you for today. And until the next time, take care.